Shabbat Shalom, everyone. How are you? Do you like to eat food? So do I. Do you think God cares about what kind of food you eat? I think so. I think He does. So I'm reading this week's Torah portion. It's in Leviticus chapter 11. And in this chapter, God tells us all the foods that we can eat and all the animals that we can't eat. He says some animals are for food and some animals are not for food. So have you read that chapter? Maybe you read it with your family? Let's do a pop quiz. Let's see if you know if this animal is food or not food. Okay, first one, a dog. Is a dog food or not food? Yes, the dog is not food. How about a goat? Yes, a goat is for food. It splits the hoof and chews the cud. How about a cat? Yeah, a cat is not food. How about a fish? Ooh, that's a tricky one, isn't it? So a fish has to have fins and scales to be food. If it has fins and scales, we can eat it. How about a lobster? Lobsters are not food. They don't have fins and scales, do they? How about a bunny rabbit? A bunny rabbit, nope, not food. How about a cow? Can we eat cow? Yes, cows are food. All right, good job, everyone. Well, we went through all that, but I wonder, where did this idea come from and why is it so important? Do you know? Well, it all started way back in Genesis, at the beginning. So God created the world and put Adam and Eve in it, and He gave them a command. And what did He say? That's right. He said, "You shall not eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat of it, you shall surely die." Did they obey God? No, they didn't. They ate of that tree, didn't they? And did you know that all the way through, from the beginning until now, when we disobey God, it shows that we hate Him. Did you know that? Wow, Isaiah tells us that. In chapter 66, verse 17, he's talking about people who are evil. The ones who are evil hate God, and they're God's enemies. Guess what they eat? They eat the flesh of pigs and rats and other abominable things. Isn't that terrible? Well, some people might say, oh, but that's all Old Testament. God doesn't care about that now. What do you think? Let's see if He cares about it. So in Matthew chapter 15, verses 1 through 11, you could read that story with your mom and dad. It's talking about the hand washing and the traditions of people. And does Yeshua say, yes, you can eat pig in this? No, He doesn't say you can eat pig because pigs are not food. He says, I am focused on your heart. Yeshua focuses on the heart. So do we mean what we say? And do we love God more than we love our traditions? He's focused on traditions and the heart in Matthew chapter 15. Let's look at Acts chapter 10. That's when Peter has a dream and he sees the sheet coming down and all these unclean animals on it. And in his dream, God says, Peter, get up and eat. Kill the animals and eat them. And Peter says, but God, these are unclean animals. I've never eaten anything unclean. They're not food. And then God explains to him God's not telling him to eat unclean animals. He's using the animals to symbolize people. Because the Jews thought that the Gentiles were unclean. And God is about to send Cornelius to see Peter. And he wants Peter to not regard him as a Gentile, but to welcome him as if he's clean. And it says that in verse 34, Peter realizes, I now realize how true it is that God does not show favoritism, but accepts people from every nation who fear him and do what is right. And we have a few more verses. You can look at them later with your parents if you want to. Romans 14, 1 Corinthians 8, 1 Corinthians 10. And if you read those, God doesn't tell us to eat unclean animals. What he says is be considerate of others. Because a lot of people are going to have a lot of different ideas. And so we need to be considerate about them. Doesn't that go back to getting to the heart? Yeshua cares about our heart. And he cares about whether or not we're obedient to God. So think about that. Shabbat Shalom.